And welcome back to the Nose Plays Endless Legend. I had a little bit of a issue during the last live stream a little while ago where the stream cut out while I was in the middle of playing and I didn't notice for a couple of turns. So, the end of the stream was turn 21. A couple of turns have passed since then. I will try and recap what has happened. Last thing I was talking about was potentially colonizing this region, because by colonizing this region and forward settling, we know somebody else is out here because some of these ruins had been searched by someone else. This will prevent them from potentially boxing us in and giving us opportunities to backfill these later on. If we don't settle this, we could potentially find ourselves, if we just settle these coastal regions first, boxed in and unable to get out any further. And that could be a real problem for the roving clans because they can't declare war on anybody. So we continued to scout with this unit and have sent him a little bit further. We discovered a wine deposit, which makes this region more valuable to me than before because wine is one of the best luxury resources. And then there is a glass steel deposit here. Also, the minor faction pacification quest for these guys, if I'm not mistaken, was simply to settle in this region and then probably do something else. So, pretty easy to pacify them. In the meantime, we've had some shenanigans down here. A Hunt army spawned, and they immediately started to raid our extractor, which is a real problem for us because we need that glass steel in order to complete our faction quest. So what I did was I pulled our hero out of the city as an army, sent them to fight this 2-unit Haunt army, and as you can see, we did not fare very well. Our hero actually got injured and was disabled for 20 turns. I have since waited 1 turn. We're going to go ahead and pay for her to come back. And we waited 1 turn just because it would be a little cheaper. So we're going to create army on city once again. And we're going to try this 1 more time. Now that they only have 1 hunt, we're much more likely to pull this off. So this will actually be the 2nd time that we've made this battle. These haunts are incredibly dangerous, and you can see we didn't get very much damage on this one at all. We only get 2 militia in this city because the capital city gets an extra militia, so that made it a little bit more difficult as well. Hey Bob, how's it going? Are you a fan of Endless Legend? I'm actually playing tonight in celebration of Endless Legend's latest piece of DLC. Free minor faction addition to the game. They created a brand new minor faction and added it to the game to celebrate the fact that the game is now in Chinese. They've added Chinese support for the game. So I was playing earlier tonight. We actually were about 1 hour and 20 minutes in around turn 21, and my stream inadvertently cut out, and I didn't catch it right away and played a couple of turns. So that first video will be going up shortly, and the second half of this video will be going up a little bit after that. Okay. There hasn't been a whole lot that's come out since Kapaku. We did get the Mycera faction, which is another single city faction similar to, what the heck are they called? The Cult of the Endless. They can only ever have 1 city, but they have some special mold spore mechanics. And then we've also added the Urkin, and then as I pointed out, a brand new miner faction, Miner Civ, was created just recently. Not a real big change to the game. Miner Civs are pretty minor. But pretty cool that even 5 years after its release, this game is still getting attention. So I decided to go ahead and play it again. Just a little bit this evening and see if anybody wanted to join me. Unfortunately, the first half of the first 20 turns of strategy have already kind of been laid out, but we're going to continue. And so if you go back and watch that first video, you might learn a few things. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat, and I'll try to point out or clarify anything that I'm doing in game. But right now we're trying to save our extractor. So we built a glass steel extractor. This is basically the equivalent of strategics in Endless Space 2. These are our metals that we use for building various buildings and weapons. And we need this for a quest. And these guys are trying to destroy our extractor. This is just a roving barbarian army, basically. So we're going to go ahead and take these guys out, and I'm going to fight it again. This time I'm going to keep my hero back as much as possible and let the militia handle the brunt of the work. And hopefully... Oh yeah, there we go. We got a nice hit this time. Man, that was way better than the last game, or the last fight we had. So that's exactly what we wanted to see happen. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, our hero cannot go back to a city for a few turns. There is a cooldown timer of 5 turns before she can be reassigned to a city as a governor. So in the meantime, we're probably going to send her this direction and scout with her. And while she's out and about, since I have a little bit of dust, let's go ahead and give her a little bit more sight and maybe a little bit more movement. I think I can afford that. And that will allow her to get a little bit further here for the next couple of turns and scout these next couple of regions down here that I didn't get to yet. This army, what are we going to do with you? Oh yes, we are 1 turn away from being able to complete this faction quest. We can go ahead and move him over here for now. And actually we might join him up with her in the meantime. No, what we'll do with him actually is once we complete this faction quest, we'll send him this direction and then maybe meet them up together down here. That sounds like a reasonable plan. Alright, this will be the turn that we get this faction quest completed. So now we can parlay here. Let's get this first. Okay, so we did this, so that's pacification. That gives us a whole bunch of population, 3 new population pips. Very good. We are going to go ahead and move this into the front of the queue because it's more valuable. And as I pointed out, we're going to get this guy heading this direction. And I guess the question now is, do I really want to send her out this way by herself? I think the answer to that is no. Go pick up these pearls. We'll just go pearl searching for now. Okay. So we've done the first part of our faction quest, and it says now to delve a bit deeper, inspect the ruins located in here to get the Roads of Dust item, which is actually a pretty good item. And we'll definitely want to build it and equip it on our hero. So we need to get to that ruins. Did I just walk right by it? I sure did. We'll have to do it next turn. We can combine these two units and do that just in case there's some kind of military problem that we have to deal with. Winter is here. Winter is going to be 1 to 11 turns. And it slows your movement, decreases your vision, and has a number of other negative effects. One of which is reduction in food, which is not a problem for that city or this city. We're still positive on food. In some areas you'll actually go negative and you'll need to make sure you move population over to food during the winter time. Alright, we can go ahead and end our turn. Move that unit there. And now we can search that. Okay. Get a Wild Walker hero. Equip them with Roads of Dust manuscript and assign them as a governor in a city. To get the High Tower. +2 vision on city tiles. +5 science on city. Alright. So that's part of our faction quest we'll be working on next. We now have the Roads of Dust. And the return of the Urkins. Urkins are very, very powerful. It's hard to explain exactly what they do, but they're basically like giant kaiju. And they're covered in little parasites that act as bodyguards for them. They're actually called lice. Very similar to the kaiju in the movie. Having those lice, it was kind of a funny scene if you've ever watched Pacific Rim. Ron Perlman, very good stuff. Anyways, but these are like giant kaiju that are asleep. They've finally woken up. They bust through the crust of the earth, and they kind of occupy a empty region. And there's a couple of things you can do with them. You can tame them passively by providing them specific luxury resources, or you can tame them through a military force, at which point they basically claim a region for you and have a whole bunch of cool production benefits. They're also incredibly powerful military units, and the military power of them expands exponentially as you collect all of them. So there are 3 unique Urkins that will come up throughout the game. If you collect all of them and have them all under your control, there's some very devastating things that you can do with them. I haven't had a chance to play around with them too much, but I've seen a little bit done on camera through SB and other YouTubers, which is cool. And then we got our regular search off of that. So we got a little bit of extra dust. Let's check her out again. So now I can add the Roads of Dust in place of that item. And we'll probably put her back on the city as soon as possible, but let me go ahead and expand this. So we want to get this settler done, but at the same time I really want to get this mill foundry done. So let's do it this way first. I just don't want to lose this territory. So we'll probably still try to buy out the settler or the mill foundry. One of these we're going to buy out to try to decrease the amount of time that that's going to take. And hopefully this unit can survive long enough found another ruin that we can search. I'm guessing that if anybody was going to settle this region, they would probably settle this one first. They're not likely to jump that region for this one. And I haven't seen the border of an enemy empire yet. So I think we're in pretty good shape. This is going to give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regions potentially that we can settle in relatively short order. Something else that I just happened to notice, I think I pointed it out over here, but we actually have a second region, this tile right here with 1, 2, 3, 4 empty tiles around it. That's 2 regions, and then another one up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, where we could potentially level up a cargo dock, which is pretty cool. Usually you don't see that very often. Those regions are fairly rare in my experience, but man, I'm seeing a lot of them here. I wonder if ELCP has adjusted the ratio of things on the coast. I don't know if that's possible, but usually there's just so much crap on the coast, like ruins and things that villages, that block you from ever being able to do that whenever these tiles do show up. So maybe we just got lucky. We'll see. There's some more pearls over here that are kind of hiding behind that banner. I'm going to queue up my move to that spot. And we're going to go ahead and end another turn here. I really should be more concerned about not having an army yet than I am. Alright, she's leveled up. We're going to grab another point in this. I might reconsider that. No, let's just go ahead and grab that. That'll pay off significantly here in a moment. Alright. We are making progress on getting to the tier 2 research bubble wheel, whatever you want to call it. I really like the way they did research in Endless Legend. I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't carry this over into Endless Space. It's a much better system in my opinion. And it's not really all that different, it's just visually different more than anything, but I really like the way they did it. So we just talked about how we don't have much of a military. Our starting military unit's pretty good, but it's much better when it's backed up by ranged units. My hesitation for grabbing this ranged unit is that we are going to pick up a ranged unit potentially in the Takaite or whatever they're called, the two-headed things with bows that we were talking about earlier. But this unit's much better as a ranged unit in my opinion, so we're going to go ahead and pick that up next. We do have seed storage now, which is good. And this region actually can grow very, very large because of the amount of room we have, so the husbandry center in this region might be really, really beneficial. I suppose we could grow pretty large here as well. So we could put it in our capital, but either one, that building would be particularly useful in. And I think I already dealt with that hero point. Let me just double check. We don't have any more skill points, right? Yeah, we already took care of that. 2 more turns and then we can reassign her to a governor spot again. Okay. What was her quest? 8 glass steel. We can do that. We won't be able to do it for a little while, but we can do that. Empty location. Grab that next. Let's look for some more pearls while we're out here. Not seeing any there. We could give them 8 glass steel, or we could just wipe them out. These units are particularly weak. How's it going, Daniel? I think we are just going to fight these guys. The pacification was not, there was no reward, it was just pacification. 8 glass steel is more valuable than pacification of 1 village that we can wipe out easily militarily. I'm not even going to watch this one, we'll just auto it. Well, you picked a good night to be an insomniac, because we're playing some Endless Legend tonight. That gives our hero a little experience. Ooh, and a nice cache of pearls to boot. Yeah, it is an absolute fantastic game. Question, have you ever played it with the Endless Legend community patch mod? Yep, I actually am using the ELCP mod. I came across the ELCP mod about a year ago, right around when Kapaku's expansion released, and I will never play this game without it again. The AI is just so much better with this mod. It's pretty cool. I don't know if you heard or not, but they just came out with a small piece of DLC, free update to the game. They added a single minor faction to the game in celebration of adding Chinese language support to the game. They added a Chinese themed minor faction to the game, and ELCP guys were on it. Like within 24 hours they already had a updated mod to support the new patch, so that was pretty cool, and one of the reasons that I'm playing today. Is that a cliff? It is. So we could get up on top of this cliff, or we could just stay down here and move back the way we came. Let's be adventurous. Let's hope this winter doesn't last too much longer. Let's actually go this way just in case we see some more pearls over here. Nope. Okay, so this is what I was afraid of. So we're getting forward settled here. We're definitely going to want to grab this region ASAP. Oh, that's unfortunate. I actually saw them in one of the very first playthroughs that I picked up. They were in a neighboring region to my starting region, but I didn't actually pick them up. I didn't get very far in that playthrough. It was off camera. I haven't seen them yet in this playthrough. If I do, I will try to point them out. But so far we've only seen very terrifying things like Kazanji and haunts all around us. It's been quite difficult start to begin with. Alright, Can I buy this out? Not yet. We are making good dust on it. We do want to buy this settler out and get this region locked down soon. Like super soon. And then probably get into food. Urkins have emerged. We can show the location. So this is the Urkin. He looks like a giant crab. And it looks like he's looking for... Oh, I can't remember what that one's called. But whatever that luxury resource is, if you can give him 30 of that, you'll pacify him immediately. He's also protected by 4 of these guys, which are moderately dangerous. And then he's pretty powerful, big dude, 700 hit points, 81 attack, 44 damage, 66 defense, pretty big. If you can take down him and all of his Urkin, he'll join you. They can never be destroyed. They're basically indestructible. And it looks like he potentially could be on an island right now. This is set for a Pangea with islands. So there will be 1 or 2 small islands out here. I can see one of them there. This could be one big island, or it could be 2 smaller islands. But that's useful information, nonetheless. They will periodically go back underground and then pop up somewhere else. So they're not permanently in one location. But as long as they're in that location, nobody can claim it. You can't settle in that region. The only way to take that region away from an Urkin is to pay the cost or to beat him over the head till he submits. This cliff just keeps going. I guess we can parlay with these guys. There's an unspoiled ruin with monsters in it. If we kill the monsters, we get 80 dust. We don't have an army capable of that. However, we do see another player here. Looks like I can get around this cliff right here. So that's what we're going to do. Start heading back home. Alright, that's good news. Winter has subsided. And we want to run away from these, which look like Broken Lords. So we got a Broken Lords player for sure. But they are not the yellow player. Let's go right there and grab that next turn. Hail to your grace, let us hope that we become honorable acquaintances. They are indifferent to us at the moment. We'll go and dismiss that for now. Summer has returned, and we have completed the military unit that we need. The next important thing that I think we grab is probably going to be the Empire Mint. And I want to buy this out, but I can't. So we're just going to have to complete it at normal speed, unfortunately. That does mean that we might, however, be able to buy out the mill foundry here, which we can. And then immediately put the food storage in behind it. We also have the altar of Araga now that we can lay down somewhere. I'm thinking we probably lay that down over here. I'm gonna have to consider how I want to build this. I'm thinking the stick actually looks like a really reasonable, like a long stick is one of the 2 shapes that makes a really good city in this game. But most importantly, the altar of Araga will put us down right here, which will give us access to the ocean. that access will allow us to maybe get over here to this island. See what's over there. Alright, so that's getting bought out. We might salvage this really rough start after all. I want to grab that before I send my hero back. I've got no more turns that I have to wait. So I could go back right now. Let's go ahead and pick up those pearls. This does count towards your XP. So if you can collect pearls with your heroes or your military units, they will level up. Alright, so they got their second settlement down. We want to try to avoid as much as possible I think we'll just go right here. I could go up here and potentially uncover some... let's be adventurous, right? We're going to build an army anyways. If we lose this scout, it won't be the end of the world. Alright, so we got some more glass steel, which is useful. Anything else we want to get done here? I don't think so. I think the main thing we want to do is get our city down as quickly as possible. I want to check something here. Does this +1 movement on units? So this is all the units in the army get +1 movement. That means that it might be worth moving her onto this settler, giving us just a little bit more movement moving forward. That way the settler will have a little bit of protection and also a little bit more movement, so we can get over here a turn earlier maybe. I don't know that there's a better spot than that one. Unfortunately, no matter where we build, we're not going to be able to build a very large city. It's kind of a weird shaped... I guess if you got all the way up here you could, but I don't want to be that far away from my main city. Construction has been completed. We're getting these done as quickly as we can, so we're going to get the maximum number of turns. Let's take it slow. Okay, there's a quest army. Alright, not too bad. We'll move to that spot and parlay with this city, or village. Silics are really powerful. One of the better minor factions in the game, in my opinion. They increase the output of your strategic deposits by a small amount, which can be really strong for a lot of factions. So let's take a look here. 9, 8, 9, 10, 8, 6. 7, 14, 2. 10, 12, 7, 4. That's probably our spot right there. We did get attacked by the Silics. We are going to retreat. And we might be able to get this army to meet up with our other one if we're lucky. We'll get to their next turn. New quest added. Assimilate the Dorgeshi minor faction first. 30 titanium and 40 dust is the reward. The Dorgeshi faction is a region that we were having our eye on. It was right up here, and they've already been pacified. In fact, as soon as we get this completed, we may want to try to squeeze out another settler. 5 turns. We could probably get that done. That reward makes that delay worth it. The original intent for this settler was to grab this because it was such an easy settle with 2 villages already pacified. But as soon as I saw that we had people nearby, forward settling looked like a good idea, and that has proved to be the case with this faction already pushing in on us. We don't even know who they are yet. We might want to send somebody down there to scout that eventually. Alright. So we can go ahead and settle this. Now before we do this, we always want to check our empire plan is coming up. We are going to increase this by not just 20, so this isn't going to be 60 anymore, but if we get 2 cities down, it'll actually be 80. So in order to do any one of these things, it's going to cost us 80. We're almost to 80 now, and we got 6 turns. So we're going to be able to keep 1 tier, but probably not more than 1. And that's okay with me. It's not like we have a lot of choice anyways. We don't have any other strategics we can run. So let's go ahead and get this settled. And the first thing that we'll probably build is the mill foundry. We want to move this is kind of in the way. Okay. Maintain a minimum of 3 influence in your new city for 5 turns. So we're going to have to do this for 5 turns, which kind of sucks, but I guess it'll work out fine because it'll give us more influence. There's a very slim chance that we'll be able to maybe get more than 1 empire plan enacted there. There's some pearls there we can pick up. Get some more XP on our units. Okay. We have a common frontier with the Broken Lords because of the range of our current system, but this is going to block off both the Broken Lords and whatever this faction is from grabbing these territories from us before we're ready to take them. One of the things that you might notice is that our happiness has dropped significantly, and we need to fix that by basically building approval buildings, essentially. Anything else that we need to worry about? Not really. Okay, so a couple of things have happened. Whatever this yellow player is, they've been very busy attacking villages, and so they're the first to pacify 8 villages in order to gain a reward, which is a hefty % initiative bonus. This can be very dangerous on certain factions because it basically always gives them the ability to fight first. Also, another faction has got the Wealth Harvester deed, where they've accumulated some luxury resources, and they get a big pile of emeralds. Not too valuable, but you can use them as trade fodder. And then nobody's built the first wonder yet, which does have an approval bonus on it, which is nice. And something we might consider, but I don't think we have enough industry to really pull it off. That being said, once you get 9 technologies in this first bubble, any 9 that you want, no particular order is required, it unlocks the second bubble. The next 9 that you get, either in this tree or this tree, will unlock the next bubble, and so on and so forth, all the way down the line. It's just a really nice way of segregating the different tiers of things. We already start with this technology at the beginning of the game, so that's why it's already highlighted, even though we haven't had access to this bubble until just now. And there are a number of abilities that are common, and then a handful that you'll see have our symbol that are usually in yellow. These are unique to our faction. The most important ones in the tier 2, I think, are almost certainly Glory for the Empire and Right of Way. Both of these are very, very important. What they do essentially is this provides all of your cities with a reasonable amount of influence so that you can get those empire plans to actually be useful. Because otherwise you'll find very quickly, if you expand too much, that you can't even afford any empire plans. And so this is one way to help solve that. This is basically not only a logistics benefit, because it provides roads between all of your cities which reduce the movement cost passively, but it also gives you trade routes, which basically fixes most of your dust issues. So if you can get this down early in all of your cities, then you will be able to get trade routes going very quickly. The more cities you have and the further apart they are, the bigger those routes get. And there are a couple of ways to improve and upgrade the effects of those trade routes down the line. But the most important thing is it does provide roads and dust income. And so those are both very important aspects of the game. Everything else is pretty standard. There's a lot of good stuff here. I'm not sure where we're going to start. I think we're probably going to start with this technology because we do have a fair amount of glass steel. So we can afford to build these buildings since they cost glass steel. And they're going to give us a 25% bonus to approval on all of our cities, which we really need right now. Because we're about to build another colony or city or whatever you want to call it. We're going to colonize this, and that's going to reduce our approval even more. There is a -10 expansion disapproval for each city that you grow. So as you get a bigger and bigger empire, you'll have to find ways to deal with that expansion disapproval. I do have one way to deal with it very effectively, and that is going to be wine deposits, which we're going to start up here very soon. But first, let's take care of our approval problems now. Well, hold on a second. It's going to take a long time, though. This is a long-term solution to approval. This is maybe a little bit shorter-term solution. Maybe. Alright, the other thing that happens when you reach a new bubble, a new era, is all of your military units come out at higher level now, and they also have access to more expensive gear. And so we now have tier 2 versions of all of our weapons and armor. We want to upgrade our character design here. And then as far as weapons are concerned, right now the only thing we know for sure is we might be fighting Broken Lords. Broken Lords are very slow infantry-based units, so the spear's not going to be very effective against them, really any more than the hammer will be. But the hammer has a stun capacity, so this could be very useful. So we'll go ahead and apply that for now, and then our Kasai, our archers, can also be, and we have options of using bows or crossbows. I really like the bows. They're much more powerful, and these units have really high movement, so they're fairly easy to keep out of combat because of their fast ability, +2 battle movement, which makes them very, very mobile on the battlefield. If you pair that with a really high initiative, these units can basically kite you forever and just harass you constantly with arrows. Okay, that being said, it's going to cost us 86 dust to retrofit our military units to the higher tier of weapons, which I think we should go ahead and do. And then we want to upgrade her as well. And that's going to cost another 46 dust, which we just barely have, but we do have it. And now that we've done that, she is probably in a position where we want to bring her back down here. And the reason I want to bring her back down here is because she provides a lot of dust in this system. You can see she's increasing the dust here, but she's also providing extra dust for each of these anomalies that we settled next to. And so that's going to be really, really good for her in the long run. Alright. I think we're in a pretty good spot here. One thing that we never did get done was we never scouted this region, which I really wanted to, but I kept finding reasons not to. Somebody's already got the museum done. That's not uncommon. This building is almost always built before turn 50. It seems a little bit early, but not ridiculously early. Let's go ahead and start moving these guys over here. Okay, so one thing you can see, if I mouse over this region, you can see how the border kind of ends right here. And you can see that this region is a different region. So the borders of whatever region your mouse is inside of will kind of pulse like that. So we know that there are at least 2 regions here. Neither of these were originally colonized. So whoever this faction is, they have 3 regions currently, similar to us. We're about to get our 4th region, and we'll basically have this region locked up as well. And this region. But we're probably going to want to grab this one very soon if we want to have access to anything else, because otherwise we're going to get boxed in here. So this might be the next one that we grab. What faction is this? Sisters of Mercy. And did we have a quest for the Sisters of Mercy? I can't recall. It doesn't look like we ever talked to them. So maybe that's what this army is going to be doing. I don't think I have the dust for it yet, but No, I don't want to delete it. I want to edit it with the additional movement speed. And it's going to cost 122, so that's a little bit too much. Unfortunately, we don't have any resources here. But since we do have access to the marketplace and we do have glass steel, we can actually sell some of this glass steel if we wanted to. Unfortunately, 77 per stack of 10 is all we're going to be able to get, and that will go down significantly each time we buy it, or sorry, each time we sell it. That would put us at over 100. That allows us to retrofit these guys. That's probably worthwhile. And that will give them a little bit more movement speed to get around the map. Alright. The fact that our score is so much lower than everybody else's is not uncommon. It usually has to do with the fact that your military is behind. Quest failed. Find the monsters. Yeah, we weren't going to get that done. That was something over here by the Broken Lords. I'm sure they cleared it out for us. Alright, so we can kind of cut through their territory a little bit. Let's just move right up to the edge of ours for now. And our three cities all have important stuff being built. We're not going to be able to buy this out very likely, but that's fine. Alright, the Gauran minor faction. Can cut through their territory. Grab that. So that's a good sign. That means they haven't been in this region yet, as far as we can tell. $70 dust. Bad reward. Probably still not enough to get this. We could go ahead and buy this out and start getting titanium production. I don't have any titanium related material that's going to be beneficial to us, so I'm probably going to pass on that. We do want to get the Empire Mint done. And we want to talk to these guys, see what we can do to pacify them. Because we may bring that settler down here to pacify these first. Okay, pillaging has started. That's a problem. What exactly are they pillaging? Oh, one of our villages. These rebels don't like the fact that the rest of the civilized villages have joined our cause, so they're going to harass them. There's absolutely nothing I can do about that. I don't have any military units up there, and even if I wanted to respawn my hero out here to try to deal with them, She's probably not going to be able to get over there fast enough. So that's unfortunate. We'll lose that. We did complete this quest, which means we no longer need that, which is good. Seed storage, public library, and mill. That's probably good enough. Out of curiosity, it takes 8 turns to build one of those, and 7 turns to build one of those. That's 600 and 530 dust. So that's a lot of dust. We're making quite a bit, but not enough to buy those out quickly. We could fix that potentially by doing something more like that. I think in the short term, let's just get this done. What about over here? I'm really not sure what I want to be building here. Titanium extractor seems kind of moot at the moment. I don't really have any use for titanium other than trade. So I'm really not too keen on rushing that. This, on the other hand, would be helpful. But it also hurts our approval. I think if anything, I want to be rushing the central markets once we get that completed in 3 turns. Okay, we have different ones we could assimilate. This gives extra vision. I'm not sure how half a point of vision works. This would give extra science. We have 3 haunt villages. We have 3 Jodas villages. It also gives us access to their unit as a military unit. We just picked up a ranged unit, so that would be kind of redundant. We don't have a flying unit, so this could be a powerful addition to our army. What is our overall science on our empire like right now? It's not fantastic. If we go here, empire output is basically 40. 15% of that would be something like 6 points. That's not very much at all. I'm not sure that either one of those is worth 30 influence, and what I'm going to do is wait at least 1 turn, because next turn we're going to hit turn 40, which will give us an empire plan, and then we'll see if we have any leftover influence for that kind of stuff. Destroy the city threatening the tribe in Assemble. Destroy or capture. It's got to be this tile then, right? It's not going to give us a location. Okay. Here we go. So these are the Magpie. The Magpie are the new minor civilization that was created inspired by Chinese mythology. Known as a civilization of hard-working farmers, the lands of the Magpie are closely identified with their intricate layers of terraces that climb the hills and mountains near their villages. Assimilation effects include plus 10 fortification per pacified or rebuilt village, and they are a ranged archer unit with good health, moderate defense and low damage, moderate attack, but they do have disease immunity, which is interesting. And they start with sharp sense as well. That probably means that they're using crossbows and shields. Interesting. Disease immunity. That means that this unit would be particularly effective against the insect armies that poison. I want to say cravers, but that's not right. The necrophage. So these units would be really effective if you had to fight necrophage, who tend to poison your units a lot. Okay. Well, we found them. They're down here. This is a different... Oh, here it is. Okay, this village. I was going to say, this is... I thought we already saw this one. This is the one I just uncovered. So there it is. I think we're going to do one more turn, and then I'm going to call it a night. That's a little over 2 hours on 2 different videos now. I think we're going to skip that for now, like I said. And we're going to get a bunch of stuff done this turn. But that'll give me a chance to decide what I want to do with this settler. If I do want to bring it down here, or if I want to go ahead and grab it this region right away. I think we may end up bringing that settler down just because I don't want to get boxed in. Getting boxed in is one of the worst things that can happen if you are the roving clans. If you take territory and people go to war with you and take it away from you, you're at war, so you can take it back. But if you're not at war, you're at Cold War, and they take territory, it's really difficult to get it back from them. So it's better to take a spot that you know you're going to lose strategically, and then use the war that they declared on you to get it back from them. Alright, where do we want to move this guy? I guess we'll move him down here, grab those pearls, and parlay with that unit. And then maybe kind of fall back. We still don't even know who this is. But we do know that they're very aggressive militarily because they got the initiative bonus. And the reality is we just hit turn 40 and we don't really have an army. So we have to be extra careful. 10 emeralds and 10 grad silk. Well, that's not likely to happen anytime soon. Oh. They were just here. I sure hope it's not who I think it is. It could be... Could be the spies. Alright, so... we didn't get this settler down yet, which actually works in our favor in terms of this empire plan, because we actually just barely have enough for both of these, which is what I think I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and activate that, and then that makes me feel good about not grabbing one of those minor factions. So that's been done. I am going to go ahead and start moving him down, but before I actually move him, we have the dust to give him more movement speed, which we probably should have done earlier. And that will allow him to move a little bit more quickly. So we can get down here in two turns. I could get to there. So that's one turn. So we'd be at 41, 42. I could use my hero to increase the speed slightly, but I'm not going to get much out of it. So I think we're just going to go without the hero. We'll move him back this way and get a little more vision over here. And I'm going to do one more turn just because there is a weird issue with saving games on the turn that you lay your empire plan down. A lot of times it makes you redo it and it recalculates things in weird ways. So let's do one more turn. Instead of going there though, I might grab those pearls first. Nah, we want to get the vision. We want to make sure there's not a better spot over here. He can grab the pearls on his way down through there anyways. Alright, anything else up here that we need to worry about? Not really. 2 turns till Central Markets. Looks like another dust eclipse. Let's move. Alright, so it's looking like a lot of industry down here. Let's turn this on for a second and see if anything magical stands out. Not seeing a ton. Rivers are really good, and they can be made even better. Unfortunately, neither of these tiles have the approval bonus, which would be really nice. We can get to there. That's probably good enough. I think I want to be back over here as much as possible away from this so that they can't attack us without being close to this city, which can then kind of lend some support. I think I'll do one more turn. I want to get that city down before we end. And this is going to really hurt our approval, but we get our approval buildings next turn, which everybody's going to build right away. Alright, we'll deal with that in a minute. This is going to be the next thing we need. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to deal with this battle. There's not going to be much to this battle. These are melee infantry units versus our units which stun. We should win this battle pretty handily. We did upgrade and we are mostly healed. So I'll just auto-resolve it. Yeah. As expected. We can then come over here and grab that and reveal a titanium deposit, which makes this region a little more valuable. 2 spice and a titanium is better than what we were looking at. And we can grab that and then figure out, are we going to build there? There's no food there. So we got a lot of mediocre locations here, is what I'm looking at. Uh, 4668, 664, 13. That's not terrible, and we can make that even better with some of the river tech. Man, these starting regions, we're just not finding like really rich places. Alright, I think we're just going to go right here. Now, unfortunately, I didn't check to see if I could pop a booster. I wasn't going to be able to, so it didn't really matter all that much. 53 turns for a central market and over 700 dust. Yuck. We'll buy that out right away. And start working on all that good stuff. And this is going to have to go into the queue. Alright. So I think this is probably where we end it for tonight. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little dive into Endless Legend. I do like to play this game quite a bit. I don't usually finish games, but I do like to go through the first, 50 to 100 turns and see how well I can get my empire off the ground, and then decide from there whether it's worth finishing or if it just gets too boring. The end of the game is a lot of just clicking through turns a lot of times, or just running through people with your big army in very tidal wavy fashion that's not very exciting or engaging. But the build up to that point is often very intriguing, and this is a weird game for me in that we didn't have a very good start, but we managed to kind of pull off what may turn into an okay start. The one thing that I'm really concerned about at the moment is we've locked down enough territory that I feel like if we got stuck right here, and this was just the line in the sand that we drew, all the stuff behind us will allow us to backfill, including this island, and maybe even this island, and we'll have a big enough empire that we can generate the dust we need to start working towards some kind of a victory condition. But that being said, I don't know how much more I'm going to play this game on camera. We'll see what the views are like, and if people are commenting on it and really want to see more of this game or more Endless Legend in general. So if you're interested in seeing more of this on my channel, please mention that in the comment section and let me know anything that you would like to see in the future. Until then, this has been The Nose Plays, and you guys have a great evening.